Hello, it's me, Shadow. I was going to show you a simple little trick on as far as our radio communication. Now, soon I'll have a video, if I haven't put it out already, on my second helmet that I'm setting up. And I want to have like these little two-way radios, which I have quite a few of them. This one's a Bofang, as you can probably see there. Instead of having like a Bluetooth setup, like the high-dollar Bluetooth setups, we went with like the Bofangs. You can get other radios too, and this one I even have programmed for some of the generic channels, like the family share radio frequencies and stuff. We even have this set so it run off of those little cheap, crappy radios you can get at, like Walmart. So we ran into a problem because we want to record the audio, and that's where this little device comes in. So, to my surprise, this $14 device is actually really good for audio quality. And the idea here was to use the radio and have the speaker audio go to this. Now, luckily, this thing actually illustrates which one is speaker and which one is microphone. This works just like Kenwood radios do. The microphone, as you can see, is the 3.5, and the speaker is a 2.5 millimeter adapter. This is almost the universal coupling type that you get with almost every major brand radio, like Waxin, Kenwood, Bofang. A lot of the ones use this kind of pin configuration. So this should be universal for a lot of things. So the 3.5 and this radio, this little voice recorder, the reason I got it is it has these two little ports on the top. Now with this $14 kit, it came with the ability to hook it up to like a phone line and record. And you have like headphone out and microphone in. I hooked up to it and found one major problem. The speaker output is much more high powered than the microphone input. And as far as connecting the 3.5 and 2.5, I got this little cable on eBay. It was like, about $2, if that. My plan is to, on my lesser radio, I'm going to like strap it to the back and turn it on. This battery life is kind of impressive for being an audio recorder. But what you need to know, and how to actually modify everything so that way it will work with taking a speaker voltage and dropping it down to something of a microphone voltage, you need a couple components. And this is where it gets a little complicated. This is one ultrafarad 35 volt, and there's the name the shop name I got it off of. Now the resistor I'm using is 330 ohm resistors. I got 100 of them for like $3 or $4. So you're not spending much at all to do this. And this works not only for this setup, but if you want to take like any kind of recorder and let's say have a stereo output of any kind, you can get high quality audio recordings off of any kind of output. So this does have major benefits outside of this use, of course. I know it sounds complicated, but it's actually really easy. You have your speaker over here, and you would have your left and your right. I'm going to use positive references only. Negatives are just common. Alright. And these components that I got earlier is what's going to help lower the voltage, so that way it's not a very loud signal and it's not going to draw each other out. So imagine that this is your wire right here going from the left and the right, and you're going to put these in line the same way that I have them here. And something to help with the leveling of the current will be these little guys. So this is in, and this one will be for your microphone. So you'll have positive resistor, small capacitor, left. Right, you're going to have the same exact thing. for this case. The 3.5 is going to be over here. So all I have to do is cut here in the middle and separate these two lines and just deal with the positive on both of the channels. So that way I'm getting stereo at the appropriate voltage. Now before jumping right into everything, there's a couple things to note. On the diagram, and on these parts in particular, the resistors are basically universal. You can use either or side. It doesn't really matter. They just resist. But these, however, there is a positive and a negative, which you'll need to know which is which. A good thing that almost every company does when you get these is you can take a look at the actual pins that come with it. Now, there's no way you could possibly read this on this camera, but the longer leg is almost always positive. And if you look on any of your capacitors, you'll see a positive and a negative. So it needs to be coming off the resistor straight into the positive of the capacitor, and then the rest goes to the negative. So since I'm going to be putting this in a line, I'm going to try and make it as low profile as possible. I'm just going to use these curved nail nose, to kind of bend these, that way everything's in like a linear direction, just to make things a little easier. And then of course use the solder to solder them as close as I possibly can to each other, so that way it minimizes it. So the tools we're going to need for this project is, well, if you wanted to, you could use wire cutters, nail nose pliers, or a knife. Apparently my capacitors are magnetically cleaned. Not sure how my knife got magnetized, but apparently it is. Or if you're skilled enough, you can just use a knife and you won't need any of that. Just basically a knife. Of course, you'll need some electrical tape, and if you want to do a tight job, I'd recommend getting this. It's silver bearing solder. It's very, very, very thin, easy to work with, and chances are when I cut into this, it's going to be some really thin wires.